All right, all right, all right. The man, the legend, my friend, my mentor, Jimmy Afant is back from vacation. This is From the Margins with James Afant. Jimmy, welcome back.
Hey, and for the record, I had a piña colada in your name. This
Ah,
is
yes.
this is for David.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, sir. Oh boy, and I could use a couple of pina coladas right about now. Jimmy? It's mid-October, and this year has gone by so quickly, and our numbers are growing. I just want to let you know that we had. While you were gone, we dropped a couple of shorts, and one of them on YouTube just blew up over 1,000 views. One of your short form content had 13 likes, which I really appreciated. And the comments have been, pretty much spot on. Like, yeah, we pretty much agree with what you have to say, Jimmy.
Good. I'm just speaking the truth, which most people don't. They try to sugarcoat things or say things in a different way, but
Right.
it is what it is.
It is. And what I enjoy the most are the comments and the interaction between us and our viewers or listeners. And I just encourage everyone, please comment and engage us and let us know, what you think, what you like for us to talk about, and cordial, respectful, tactful debate. That's what, part of what civic engagement is all about. And I hope that people are learning a thing or two.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've lost in this country. We cannot talk to each other. We ignore each other. We cannot say, okay, I disagree with you. We would now say that sounds stupid. So it's becoming a little bit more aggressive and more bad, and right now, if you're going to talk about the shutdown, let's get it clear. Neither of the parties are talking to each other. They're not. Then
Yeah.
you should say, okay, we're going to appoint these four Republicans, we're going to appoint these four Democrats. Let's sit down and you guys go into that room and hack out something that you think we could work with. You come back to us. The Republicans say yes, the Democrats say no. We need this, and then you go back. That is not happening. They're not talking to
Mhm.
each other. All they're doing is sound bites on TV for different reasons. What is more interesting is that basically Congress is not in session. And
Right.
by not being in session, let me say why I mean this is important. Let's say that for some reason, one night Jeffrey gets a call from Mike Johnson and say, "Hey, what if I do this?" He say, "That's fine. We can operate." Now Mike Johnson has to give them 3 days to convey them and say, "Hey, you're out of state. You need to come to Washington. We're going to be opening the session on such and such a day." And God forbid that they do it on a day like today, Thursday, because Congress does not work on Fridays. Those of you who did not know that, they don't. They travel that day, so he would have to tell them to come back on Monday. So it's realistically a problematic thing. And most of the things, if you sit down, you could talk to them. But Congress is not talking. Now the Senate, they're talking and they're doing sound bites, which I find very interesting.
Yeah.
And when people tell me what do I mean by sound bites, oh well, the guy from New York who's a Republican says, "I have a bill that would extend the
Yeah.
Obamacare subsidies for 1 year." Of course you do. You want to run an election with Obamacare being in place, and then try to destroy it next year. The truth of the matter, a 1 year extension doesn't really help anybody. If you're
Sure.
serious about it, do a 5 or 10 year extension. Otherwise, then don't do it. But they're not talking to each other. And what's hurting our country is the not talking, not listening, thinking that I know better than you. And that's what's really hurting us. That and a dead person.
A dead person?
Oh,
Whoa,
yeah,
what did I miss? Oh, out of Arizona, Jimmy?
you got it.
Yes, yes,
One
yes.
reason they do not want to open Congress is because Garahala will be uh, sworn in, has to be sworn in within 24 hours of opening the session. She's sworn in, she'll sign the petition, and if Johnson loses control, it goes to the floor, and it has enough votes for it to pass and open Epstein altogether. People say, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not the, no. Can you give me another reason why not to have Congress in session? Because, like, the shutdown might be occurring, but there's legislation that can pass. They can
Right.
sit down and pass the legislation once the money that Trump has taken from one place to pay the troops, once that money expires to fund that, they could sit down and try to create committees to work out the shutdown. They could pass other legislation that needs to be passed in this country. But the only reason to maintain the Congress closed is because once you open it, within 24 hours, she's going to be sworn in and she's going to sign that agreement. And the speaker loses control. It goes to the floor for a vote, and we know how that vote is going to end.
Right.
That and the fact that I've been surprised by MTG.
Yes, she has moderated her views towards certain issues related to the government shutdown.
Yeah, and this is the truth. And I hate to say this because people say, "You're agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene." Yeah, I am. There is no solutions. You're wrong. I passed an RM and you rejected it, but I'm not going to sit down with you and discuss alternatives. You know,
Right.
that's God forbid I do that. God forbid that the Reds talk to the Blues or the Blues talk to the Red. Uh, she's right. The Republicans don't have a solution. They just don't. They're saying this is what it is. Take it or leave it. And me personally, if you ever tell me something, take it or leave it, even if it might be beneficial, I'll leave it because I don't like to be forced into a situation where I have to do something. So,
Understandable.
so it's really something that it surprises me. She talks about the subsidies, and she's
Right.
right. Why wait for the last moment? This is a bad habit of Congress. Well, it's almost hour zero. Now let's sit down and work something out. Okay, let's agree to extend it for one more year because we don't have the time to do anything more. That's not the way a responsible government should work. And
I agree.
right now, I'm going to say this: I'm not impressed by either party at all. I am not impressed by either party at all. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know
Jim,
if you know what happened in the state of Massachusetts.
mm, let's see. I'm thinking, isn't there a governor running for Senate or something like that? I can't
No,
recall.
that's in Rhode Island.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You have
What,
a
what,
congressman who's a Democratic congressman who's challenged the incumbent U.S. senator who's 76 years old. And basically
oh,
said, look, it's time that you guys start passing the baton. If you get reelected, you're going to be 82, and you guys need to pass the baton. Your senator from your home state of Illinois realized that. And I
that's
know
right.
you're not happy with what he did, but I can understand where he's coming from, saying, hey,
Mhm.
hey, it's time for me to, it's the same thing that to this day, you want to talk about not following rules and regulations of the party? New York, more particularly, next month, is going to have an election for the mayor of New York.
Yes, sir.
And Chuck Schumer, U.S. Senator of the Democratic Party, and Jeffries have not endorsed it.
That's correct. That's correct, Jimmy.
And
I,
that violates the rules of the Democratic Party. But you're trying to say that you this or that. The truth of the matter is basically there is a division in our party between the olds trying to keep power and the young trying to take it away. By
and
the
that's just
olds
one of
thinking
them.
that if you're moderate, you stand a better chance to be elected. Not anymore.
Hmm.
Republicans won't vote Democrat. even if you put Jesus Christ to run for that office. And the reverse of that, you could bring Jesus Christ and say that he is a Democrat, and I mean that that Jesus Christ is running as a Democrat. Republicans won't vote for him, and if runs as a Republican, Democrats won't vote for him. That's how bad this country is. What makes me sad every day is I'm. Would you agree with me on one thing? Do you think the political venue in this country is getting better every day or worse?
Oh, the government shutdown demonstrates and clearly illustrates that government, the political space is rotten. However, even among a barrel of rotten apples, there's going to be a couple of apples that are decent. And I see Senator from Pennsylvania, Senator Federer, um, being one of those individuals, one of those politicians who's more pragmatic, and he's voted to move forward with the resolution to keep the government open, uh, and he's voted with Republicans on certain issues. I think there are legislators, electeds, candidates who are willing to make a deal with the opposition to at least move forward with an agenda for everyone that could benefit everyone.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You said Fetterman, and I agree with you
Fetterman. Yeah,
100%.
I'm sorry.
Who is the Republican Fetterman?
The Republican Fetterman would be uh, let's see. Why does Senator Blackburn pops into my head? No. Oh, okay. So, oh, is she a Republican? Would that be the senator from Maine or the senator from Alaska?
They're both Republicans, but I would not say that they're Fettermans because they rarely don't vote with the Democrats.
I
I
thought
mean,
Collins.
they're more moderates than some of the crazy people there. But
Right.
to say, let me sit down, negotiate, vote for your bills, vote, go on your side and do something. No, neither of
Mhm.
them would. As a matter of fact, that's why the one from Maine has a challenger right now.
Right. Right. Collins and the senator from Alaska. She escapes my
Collins,
memory at this
is
time.
it Collins or
Collins is in Maine, and I'll look it up while we speak. But Collins, I know she's been. I mean, she voted for the Affordable Care Act, if I remember correctly.
oh yeah, that was when Republicans could vote with Democrats with no consequences. That's the whole problem. Right now, well, I hate to say this, but I'm going to agree. The difference between a Democrat and a Republican right now
Okay.
is what AOC said last night. If she was a Republican and talked against some of the things within her party the way that she does, she would have been primaried a long time ago, even though she was, and she would have no power within the party. The truth of the matter is, the last people who challenged Trump within the party are no longer in the party.
That's right. That's
They're gone.
right.
So when people tell me that Fetterman is a good example of what they should do, I just respond with one question. Tell me which U.S. senator regularly has voted with good projects of Democrats, and the answer is, well, we have somebody under Obama, which, what was that? Yo,
Like,
8 years ago. As a matter of
right.
fact, I'll go further. It's more than 8 years. It's
Right.
12 years ago because the Obamacare was in the first term.
Hmm.
It
Well,
was not the second.
I mean, there's Murkowski. That's her name, Lisa Murkowski, Senator Lisa Murkowski in Alaska, and Senator Collins in
Man,
Maine.
But
And
lately, they have not voted for anything that is. Once they voted for the Affordable Care Act, I can't think of anything else. And that,
I'll do some research on that because I'm sure that they've had some votes that were controversial for the Republican supporters. Going back to what you said about AOC, is it more important to fall in line every time with your party as a legislator, or is it more important to do the best thing, the right thing for your constituents, despite the fact that you may be out of a job after your term expires?
well, that's a good question. It's an excellent question. And from my experience, the latter is what most congressmen and congresswomen do. They don't criticize their party because they know they will be primary to hell by both parties. But especially, you have the kiss of death. Of, Trump says, "This is my guy. That's not the guy." Right now, our next governor has already been picked by President Trump. We all know that.
Dollars.
Yeah, we all know that. So
Mm.
basically, and our previous one was also picked by him was DeSantis. So
Yeah.
we need to understand one thing: uh, difference between the both parties is that right now most people can look when, and I'll give you an example. When Chuck Schumer voted the last time to pass a continuing resolution
Yeah.
and got the votes, Jeffries criticized him, and
Right.
half of the Democrats elected criticized him for doing, and including your former senator from, I mean, your senator from Illinois, he criticized him. So
Correct.
you can survive that in the Democratic Party. You cannot do that in the Republican Party at all. Look, right now, some people think that Marjorie Taylor is taking it to an extreme that Donald Trump might try to find somebody to run against her, but I don't think so
No.
because that is not something that is in his best interest.
But
But she's the lone cannon, and what she's talking about is more of, hey, people, let's stop this shit, let's sit down and talk, than
right.
criticize the party. If you really got to be honest, and our the problem with that is that you have a Fetterman who basically has done some things, but when I ask him who's the Fetterman in the Congress, on the Republican side, well, there's nobody. As a matter of fact, right now,
Hmm.
the Epstein file is going to be open because only four of 217 Republicans has had dared to defy the president and vote for the Epstein file. It's
Right.
not. It's going to pass mostly with Democratic votes, and
Right.
this is. Do Democrats really care about Epstein? Hell no, they
Right.
don't. But they want to embarrass President Trump because his name is there. We see too many photos to think, well, no, these two had nothing to do. No, we've seen the photos. Okay, they're there. Uh, how you know did he draw that woman? Yeah, he probably did. So, but the truth is, right now we're in a stalemate because if a Republican proposes it, the Democrats are against it. If a Democrat proposes it, the Republican, hey, Fetterman, and he's voted for some projects. Some are good, and some. And right now, some people keep talking for him for president. There's no way. There's no way. Right now, that's the other thing that I don't know if you saw the CNN special last night
No, I missed it.
with Bernie Sanders and AOC. The party needs to get an identity, needs to get a platform, and needs to know what in the fuck do they stand for. Because right now, I can tell you they are doing everything within their power to lose the Hispanic vote. They're working
Oh,
pretty hard on that.
yes. Yes, I agree with you on that, Jimmy.
And I'll go a step further. I'm not going to comment too much about the maps in Orange County, except I want to mention one thing.
Sure.
It pisses me off that some people are trying to take credit where credit's not due. If you recall, Sammy, the president of the Orange County Democratic Party, came and spoke to us and said he wanted 4 white districts, 2 black districts, and 2 Hispanic districts. That's on record.
Hmm. I remember.
I received a text saying that they created the third Hispanic district. That was me. And 1A. 1A
Yeah.
came out with 3 Hispanic. Others did follow, and I'm not going to say it was the only one. But the first
Right.
one who came out was me. And strangely, the map that was approved, District 1, District 2, District 8, and District 4, are the way I drove them. They didn't change a pen.
Right.
They changed District 5, District 6, and District 7. Okay. Oh, in District 3.
Right.
So,
Oh, listen.
what I'm trying to say is that some of the local and statewide parties have been taking for too long for granted the Hispanic vote,
Oh, much too long.
and they're losing it. As a matter of fact, right now, the sad thing is that I see a group of Venezuelans trying to contact the U.S. Senator Scott and others to get an extension on the TPS, which expires on November 7th, and which there is an executive order signed by President Trump to remove these people.
That's
These
correct.
people back the Republican Party here in Florida, okay, with money. They couldn't vote, but they did give them money. And those Venezuelans who are here who can vote voted Republican. And what is sad is the person who's kicking you out of this country is a Republican president. So, uh, look, are all Hispanics think the same way? No.
No.
Do all African Americans think the same way? No. And to assume that because you created a second African American district, that's going to help the Democratic Party.
No. Not necessarily.
So, you know, and even more to say this, the party needs to get an identity. Are we for the middle class? Are we for the minorities? Are we for women? Are we going to continue to exclude men? Or are we going to be a party for everyone to come in? We criticize certain things the Republicans do, and let's get it clear. Yes, there are some Republicans who we caught and the article political that are kind of racist. Oh shit, they're racist.
Sure.
We read it, you read it, and I read it. To say I love Hitler, ooh, that's not that's weird, but that's okay. But to use the N word in 2025, yeah,
I, I've seen the story. I've seen the text.
okay. Does that reflect the whole Republican Party?
Oh,
Look, I'm the first to say no. But to say that all Democrats are woke, that's the part that offends me. We're not
no.
all woke. No, if you mean by me being woke that I don't agree that you should discriminate against any human being for any reason, that doesn't make me woke. That makes me right. If I say,
Mhm.
well, you should not discriminate against this person because of the color of his skin, or because of his gender, or because he feels they should be another gender, you know, that that is not right. Now, should you give him special privileges for any of those things? No,
No.
I agree. But what I find funny is that basically Democrats say, well, we cannot paint all Republicans with that brush because of these few. But Republicans paint us with the same brush because of the few. So that is what I call hypocritical. Not all Democrats are woke, not all Republicans are racist. So let's stop the games. Let's stop the lie. Are there more racist people in the Republican Party? Probably true. Are there more woke people in the Democratic Party? Probably true. But does that mean that they're all the same?
No.
That's not true. So what we need to start this discord of trying to say that things are different or things are the same. The reality is the Democratic Party needs to work, and it needs to work 6 months ago. You're just dragging your feet, thinking like what happened in 2020, that people were pissed off with Trump and they're going to vote for an idiot like Biden. Now, the possibility of that happening, but it could. You need to get out your messaging. You need to get out your strategy. You need to get out an identity, because I could ask every Democrat that I know, can you tell me what the Democratic Party stands for?
They'll give you some very interesting responses. They stand for LGBTQ. They stand for wokeness. They stand for um, illegal residents versus the rights of legal residents. The average person off the street would say those things because that's what's dominating the conversation right now.
And the truth of the matter is that that's not the identity. You want to know the current identity of the Democratic Party?
Um, and it would be Jimmy, I'm going straight to it. It would be someone like Madani in New York, um, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. That's the identity of the Democratic Party right now.
And the truth of the matter is, this is what I'm trying to say. Thank you. You're helping me. The identity of the Republican Party is MAGA. Okay.
Yes, without a doubt.
Okay. Donald Trump, uh,
He is the
MTG.
one.
And I'm sorry. Okay. Uh, those are probably that, and a couple of other people like Hannity and others. Okay. It's Steve Bannon. Realistically, both parties have gone to an extreme. But
Mhm.
there's one thing that the Republicans do different from the Democrats. They're happy with their crazy people. They love their crazy people.
They bring him
They
in.
embrace their crazy people.
They
They
do.
listen to their crazy people.
Yeah.
Democrats, we want to push them away. We think stupidly, Democrats think stupidly, that if they're moderate, the MAGAs are going to vote for them. Or
Yeah.
the independents are going to vote for them. When
Mm-mm.
half of the independents that are today are people who have left both parties because they don't like either of them. Okay? They don't like either of them. So, uh, look, what people do not understand is what you do for a living and I do for a hobby. Uh, Truth of the matter, people don't like to say this, but I'll say it. Donald
Okay.
Trump has charisma.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Okay? Donald Trump can say you're an idiot. I am. I am. Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
Right now, the person with more charisma in the Democratic Party, who do you think it is?
Jimmy, I have to go back to the representative from Texas representing Congressional District 30, Jasmine Crockett. I just was on a call earlier with my brother, and for some reason or another, because of her combativeness, he is enamored with her, and others are. And Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, ESPN commentator, who's now moving into politics, he went on a tirade about, you got to do more than just complain and bitch and moan about the president and call him out of his name. You got to produce. You've got to have something to show for your community, for your district. And he pretty much read the riot act in regards to Representative Crockett. However, that's she's a magnet for attention by from the Democrats, and that type of her behavior,
She
her
is the
style.
she is the queen of manipulation, social media. I would agree with you
Mhm.
100%. Uh,
Right.
we could learn from her how to manipulate social media. Yes, I would agree with you. But the only person or persons who could go into Iowa, which is a Republican bastion, and have
Yes.
more than 100,000 people show up for a speech. No, no, it was 100. It was 72,000 because that's the capacity of the park that they went. It's called Bernie Sanders and AOC. Right now, they are they kind of socialist? Yeah. And for the record, this is what pisses me off.
Yeah. Let's hear it, Jimmy.
They're not socialists, and yeah, and the other ones are fascists. I'm sorry, and corrupt people, and people who are stealing everything from us. So don't. If you were to say, well, they're socialists, and these people are really, really people who believe in democracy, who believe in a fair playing field, who believe in the rule of law, and who believe in the Constitution. Oh, give me a break.
Right.
Then we're going to the extremes, and that's what I'm trying to say. Look, if the Democrats throw out all the liberals out of the party, they will never win another election.
Yeah.
Okay, they will not. And as a matter of fact, the Democrats are so careful. They created a. Uh, you know who should donate $50 million a year to the Democratic Party?
I would say it would be the likes of like a Bill Gates or something like that.
No, no, no. The persons who get free advertisement from the Democrats,
Who would that be?
progressive.
Ah.
They refer to us as progressive. We're no longer liberals. We're
Yeah.
progressive. That's why I used to say I'm not a progressive. Progressive is my car insurance. I'm a liberal. Uh, you know, the problem is that even now we're not liberals. We're progressives. I'm not sure what I know the distinction, but if you start taking out the so-called progressives of the Democratic Party, you don't have a party. As a matter of fact, let me put it this way: I'm going to ask you one question, and I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you call the wokes of the Democratic Party liberals or moderates?
Oh, I would say the liberals.
So you
I would
kick
say
out the wokes. Okay. Those who believe in uh, the rights, civil rights for Hispanics and African Americans, would you call those wokes or middle of the road?
I would say more of the middle of the road Democrats.
Yet, anti right.
Yes,
And, and okay, those who believe in income, in, uh,
progressives. I'm going to beat you to it. I am going to say the progressives. Yes.
you see, the problem is that this is where we don't have an identity. We want to be, please, you know who the Democrats remind me of? Of the husband who wants to please his wife no matter what. She
Oh
wants
boy, I want to know.
that.
Yes.
You want to do so? Yes, we could be
Sir.
moderates. We could be progressives. We don't have a
Right.
fucking identity. We could be. We're all around the panorama. If there's one thing I love about the Republicans and the MAGAs, this is who we are. No, no, no. We don't believe in that shit.
Right.
No, no, we don't. No, 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 no. We're this, and and if you don't like it, uh, we hate Bad Bunny. Well, I don't give a shit that he's Puerto Rican. He's not an American. We don't want the halftime to be in Spanish. We don't. We hate that. That's fine. And I'm
I
sorry.
think
You know,
I think
but at least I know where they're coming from and who they are. We are
right.
well, it would be better if he sang in English, but we have to respect his identity. What the fuck do you stand for? Or you stand for one thing or you stand for the other. You can don't you know. That's why people say fuck the Democrats because we can't get our shit together. Look, the good old days, believe it or not, the Democrats stood for the middle class.
Yes.
Democrats stood for equality for all. Okay, the Democrats really believe that uh, in the state of Israel now the powers have reversed. It's not that
Yes.
we don't. It's that just that we have a problem realizing that China has taken control over our mind. And I'm going to say something that's
Big
I'm
time.
going to bite the hand that feeds me. So, but I'm going to do it. Uh, I agree with a statement that I heard recently. Our kids are reacting that because they don't have a life, they have a phone.
Yep.
They don't read a book unless it's on a phone.
That's correct.
Uh, they whatever they get in social media, they're stupid enough to believe. Now, I'm going to give you this as it is. Numbers apart. 12 to 1 of photos on TikTok where they had dying children in Palestine to the incident of October 7th. You would go and that come up, and then we wonder why our kids react the way they are. They are
Right.
exposed to something that is controlling our minds. Look, I hate to say this, I've said it before. A friend of mine who went and looked because he was kind of in a midlife crisis, so he wanted to buy a truck, a big American truck. The guy is really liberal, but he decided he wanted to buy a truck. And he got the algorithm said he's a Republican. He got a bunch of Republican literature. Okay. Uh, I have a friend of mine who went online to check certain things that he needed. And he also came up, oh, he's a Democrat. The algorithms are putting us in a box. We
That's
don't
correct.
want to say that, but it is. You know, I remember saying to a friend of mine, hey, you need to see this movie, Rudy. Why? I said, because it's a male chick. She's like, oh, really? So she went to see them, started getting all these things about football, because
Right.
Rudy is a football movie.
Right.
Look, it's algorithms are so stupid. I'm going to call them out. Have you ever bought anything from Amazon that
Oh
two
yeah.
days later you get a say, hey, we got what you need? I just bought that from you 2 days ago. Why are you sending me? It's because the algorithms, once they get in their mind that this is what you want, they won't let it go for a long time.
That's
So,
true.
and we are in a world, we don't talk to each other, we listen to our phone. We
That's
don't
right.
research. If our phone says that uh, David Washington was born in the great state of New York, I'm sorry, you're no longer from Chicago. You're from New York. As a matter of fact, there's a part of a movie, TV series. Did you ever see Newsroom?
Parts of it, but I know the premise.
Okay, there's a part that one of the reporters went to, no, the producer went to Oxford, but they had her that she went to Cambridge, and there was on the Wikipedia page, and she spent more than hours going over that to only find out that somebody put in there that she went to Oxford to give a speech, and that the algorithm put it that she studied in Oxford, and she wanted to get it off because it was wrong, it was
Right.
incorrect. But that's how bad we are dependent. As a matter of fact, the Big Bang Theory. uh, Sheldon standing in front of a guy who is a geologist, especially in this area, and instead of asking him, he Googled it. Now the thing is, oh, let's go. And if Google says that this is it, there's no argument. There's no investigation. That's it. It's good. And sometimes the artificial intelligence gives you the correct answer. Sometimes it doesn't. Why?
Yep.
Because it's as good as the information that has been fed.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
And
with that in mind, what do you think about the shutdown?
well, I'm always looking at the end game, and I'm thinking, who's getting what out of a shutdown? And I think back to conversations we've had before in the past, like, wait a second, it seems like how the parties behave is by design. You're going to have a party who's going to always win, and you're going to have a party who's going to always lose, or something close to that. And I see that the Democrats, with their plea for the Affordable Care Act subsidies, they had the opportunity in the last government shutdown during Trump 1.0, decided, and they won on this matter with the subsidies, but they decided that the subsidies would expire at this time as a means to use it as a bargaining chip for the midterms. Of course, mistakenly thinking that they will be in power. And so I'm thinking, who the hell is advising the Democrats? Again, we've said this before. And on the Republican side, I see that the Project 2025 playbook, which we've talked about this in the past on this platform, on the other platforms that we have, the Project 2025 playbook is being executed every day by the conservatives and the Republicans, and they're getting what they want. And going way, way back to what Grover Norquist said, making government so small that you could drown it in the bathtub. This is what's happening, despite the fact that there was a federal court judge that said, Trump, you cannot fire federal workers who are doing the shutdown. They're going to do it. And it'll be thrown into the courts, and the courts will go back and forth until it reaches SCOTUS. And this is Trump. We've known him for 50 odd years. This is the Trump playbook. Let the courts deal with it. In the meantime, the administration continue to do whatever it wants to do. So I'm thinking Democrats, seeing that they're going to lose on the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, racial gerrymandering is out based on the arguments in front of the Supreme Court yesterday. That's out. So Democrats will probably be about 17 to 20 congressional seats in the minority if the Supreme Court rules this way before the midterms. And I'm thinking Democrats are maybe just going through the motions, knowing that the end is near for their party, and that there's really nothing that they could say they've had a major win. And with Trump succeeding in the Mideast, with phase one of the peace deal between Israel and Hamas and Gaza, with this trade war with China, you know, eventually, I think the Supreme Court is going to rule in favor of the Trump administration in their use of tariffs. Um, I just don't think that the Democrats are strategizing the right way. If
I don't. I think the problem with it is a little bit more complex than that. The first thing
Mhm,
is, you're right. The Supreme Court, contrary to popular belief, has never been a Supreme Court. Uh, Let me clarify the history of the Supreme Court because sometimes people tend to think of it differently.
right.
Supreme Court uh, ended has in the past. It ended in 1954, a racial division. And you're going to say, what do you mean by there had to be a Catholic judge, there had to be a Jewish judge, there had to be a Protestant judge, there had to be two from the south, two from the north, one from the east. That's how they got to the number nine. Uh, Qualifications was out of the window, and right now we still have that. The qualifications of the nine people in the Supreme Court, I would say there's only 2 to 3 that are qualified to be. The rest were just appointed by politics. Okay.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court gave us Dred versus Virginia, which was the one that said that black people did not have certain rights. So
Right.
the history of the Supreme Court is not as glorious as people think. Supreme Court had liberal judges that gave us Roe versus Wade. I understand that. It's a pendulum that swings, so their integrity is lax. When it's convenient for them, they don't interfere in what they call the legislative purpose. This is what the legislature wrote, and unless it's really unconstitutional, we're not going to. Now they have. Now
Mhm.
they are a judge. And that's why Trump wants to go to the Supreme Court because he knows the Supreme Court will rule with him no matter what. As a matter of fact, let's start calling the Supreme Court by its name. Supreme Court just ruled that in this country you could racially profile.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay? And that might
Shovel
not affect me, but that might affect you. And if a cop says I stopped him because he was black, that's fine. There's no problem with that. That's legal in this country. Okay? Let's call it as it is. That's your Supreme Court. Okay?
from the shadow docket at that.
Okay? Second, right now they're going to say that trying to bring equality is out the window. That's fine. And that concerns me because that if that goes through, you could take a person like DeSantis attacking many of the county commissioner maps, just to throw it out, say, hey, this was racially done. It's out. Okay, have said that. You have a second problem. Look, I think that it expires this year is because they had to put a year down. They just couldn't make it permanent. Uh, Somebody said that they did it in 25 because it was a non-election year, and that way, if they did it because it was a non-election year, that was stupid. Okay, and I'm going to go. That is stupid, but okay, they did it.
Yeah.
Last but not least, yes, Republicans are getting what they want, and what's killing the Democratic Party is not Trump; it's self-inflicted. Democratic Party can't get its shit together. Democratic Party pushes away its offspring, and basically right now they're killing themselves. Look, to say this, that 42% of MAGAs in this country, they're not going to change their mind. Okay, they might change their leader, but they're not going to change their mind. They could change uh, their fight when all people here in this country speak English and all are white and there's no black people or no Hispanics. They might then have a different area to fight for, but that is them. The truth of all of this is that we need to get together because if we don't work together, yeah, you're going to have a divided country.
Yeah.
You're going to have every state trying to redistrict everything to favor their local party, and you're really not going to have fair and equal representation. You're going to have party legislation. You're going to have a Supreme Court that says it's okay to gerrymander. There's no problem with gerrymander. You can do that. That is going to be interesting. And what's going to be interesting is that okay, you can make districts that are white, but you cannot make districts that are black. You can make districts that are Protestant, but you cannot make districts that are Catholic. You can make districts that are white, but you can't make districts that are Hispanic. That is the problem. Look, people, I'm going to say this. My whitey friends, you're in a minority. Between African Americans and Hispanic, we're 55% of the population of this country, and we're growing. Maybe not the African Americans as much as us, but we're
Right.
growing.
That's true.
Okay? As a matter of fact, I read a book that I'm saying that I read it. I don't have any scientific proof of this, but if the numbers keep growing by the year 50, 25, I mean, 2050, the majority of this country is going to be speaking Spanish. So, get used to it because Bad Bunny gave you 4 months to learn English. I'm giving you 25 years to learn Spanish. I'm going to give you 25 years to learn Spanish. It is what it is. As a matter of
Right.
fact, locally in Orange County, we have 3 TV stations that give you the nose at 6: NBC, CBS, and ABC.
Correct.
And if you want a fourth one, you can go to the Fox. So you have 4 TV stations that give you your news in English.
Correct.
You only have Telemundo and Univision too that give it to you in Spanish, and their numbers are higher than any individual. Listen to me. Than 2, 4, 6, or 3. They're higher than any of them individually. Put together, they're close, but the 4 of them together surpass us. But
Hmm.
it shows you that you could get all the ICE employees that you want. You could get whatever you want here, but your halftime show of next year's Super Bowl is going to be in Spanish. That bothers you? Hey, I hate to say this. The running back from what you might call it, the Kansas City,
Okay.
Mr. Pacheco,
Okay.
he's from Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
And if you look at some of the people who play defensive lines and everything, as a matter of fact, and New York City pass wide receiver Cruz,
Yes. Yes.
that's salsa. If you
Yeah.
didn't pick up that was Puerto Rican, you're slow. Uh, we're everywhere. As a matter of fact, it was kind of interesting because I got the observation last night. Do you realize that CNN is interviewing a congresswoman from New York, giving her 2 Spanish last name of Puerto Rican descent? So
Okay.
we are here, and we're going nowhere. Now let's go to the fuck ups of the week,
All right. Let's do this, Jimmy. Welcome back.
and I'm going to make it related to the same incident.
Okay.
The fuck up of the week is Mike Johnson trying to convince the world that he passed with his Congress a continuing resolution that continues the funding of the country for another 90 days. Whoop whoop, because we'll be back to it in 90 days. You talked about why didn't the Democrats pass, it longer for the Obamacare subsidies. I'm going to ask you, why don't the Republicans pass a continuing resolution for more than 90 days? Oh, because you can't. Yes.
Yeah.
You know how long has it been that both parties have not had a budget? 30 years. So, but who's counting? Uh, but he has not opened the government, which would allow, and this is why I call it a fuck up, which would allow Republicans and Democrats in Washington to sit down. Hey, if I give you this, will you give me that? Can we work this out? But all the Republican Congress people are in their home states. Consequence, there's no negotiation. But you know who's in Washington, D.C.? The Democrats.
Hmm.
Why? Because they don't depend on Johnson's instructions, they depend on Jeffries. So they're there. And by not negotiating, I am going to call the fuck up of the week. The words of Marjorie Taylor Greene. We don't. Republicans don't have a plan. It's like take my thing or take the highway. There is
Ooh.
no negotiation here, and not negotiating in Congress is a fuck up.
Mhm.
Okay, now let's give the Democrats fuck up. Well,
All
give
right.
it a little bit easier. Chuck Schumer should have done this prior time. Okay, he fucked up major, and I made that. Right now, your fuck up is not explained. It's not about Obamacare. It's about that the great beautiful bill is cutting into Medicaid.
Mhm.
It's cutting into Medicare. That the taxes that who benefit are the billionaires and rich. The tax cuts that I got are insignificant, completely insignificant. Uh, if I get make 12% more next year, I'll be paying basically the same rate. So
Mm.
it would be effective if you get no increase, and that's the mentality that's what you need to explain to them. You need to explain to the American people that basically they are going to be without health care. You need to explain to the people that the CPO that the Republicans mentioned, all these illegal receiving benefits under Medicaid, is a lie with one exception. There's a federal law that says that if you go to the emergency room and you have a medical condition, those hospitals cannot refuse treatment. And by the way, the CPO, the Congressional Budget Office, made a study and says that the largest area where non citizens receive treatment in emergency rooms in the country is not New York, it's not Chicago, it's not LA, it's here in Orlando. Now you can say, whoa, 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 where you come from? Well, let me explain to you.
Wow.
We're a tourist area.
Sure.
A tourist gets into a car accident, gets taken to the hospital. You have to understand, we get 70 million people coming from, and half of them coming from other countries. They end
Right.
up in the hospital. And I'll give you one example that this is what blows people mind. They classify Canadians who used to come to Disney as people who are not U.S. citizens who are receiving benefits from our hospitals because they got into an emergency, and that the Canadian government refuses to reimburse them. That's a fight between them. But they count as illegals receiving hospitalization. That is true.
Oh.
Now, is there a high percentage of people here who are illegal who get sick and get to a car accident and end up in the hospital? Yeah. And
Sure.
half of those get arrested and deported. So they pay a price.
Right.
It's not exactly free. But can a person who's here illegal have a Medicaid card? No. As a matter of
Right.
fact, in Florida, only two people have Medicaid cards: single moms and kids. Men
Mhm.
we don't qualify for it. Elder don't qualify for it either. So basically, at this point, Democrats, your fuck up is you need to sell. And one of the things in politics is sales. As a
Mhm.
matter of fact, I never forget somebody telling me this. If you decide to run for office, you might as well learn to be a salesperson because you're
Yes.
selling yourself.
That's true. That's true. And a little marketing experience to go with that.
That would even help more. With that, everybody, I'm going to say I'll see you next week. I like your likes. I love your likes. They make me very happy. Keep them up. And if you want to say that something against what I said, be my guest. I have no problem.
That's right.
But let's comment, subscribe, leave a little comment below. If you don't want to put like, you want to say I disagree with this point of view. I love to hear that because I'm not always right. But I will see you next week, and you have a
Yes.
great weekend.
You too, Jimmy. Good to have you back.
It's great to be back.
All
Okay.
right.